A BMW that is cheaper than a Volkswagen Tiguan. That can't be right, or can it? My name's Nishmanya, welcome to NB Drives, and this is the BMW iX1 long wheelbase. And just in case you're not aware, BMW's launched this at an introductory price tag of just 49 lakh rupees ex showroom India. And that makes this cheaper than the Volkswagen Tiguan R line, just by a little bit though. Also worth noting that is an imported car and this one is a CKD unit made in India. So here's everything you need to know about this electric luxury SUV. Let's get into the review. A big shout out to the Bird Automotive BMW showroom that has lent me this lovely iX1 long wheelbase. It is so cool of them to give the car out for review. And definitely, if you guys are in the NCR region, Gurgaon, they have one of the best BMW showrooms in the country down right now. So go check it out. Let's quickly go over the technical specifications of the iX1 long wheelbase. Now, in India, it's available in a single variant, which is the eDrive 20L, and it comes with the M Sport Pack as standard. What all this means is that this luxury EV comes with a 66.4 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack that can be charged by the 11 kilowatt charger that BMW provides you in just about 6.5 hours. Additionally, if you can get access to a faster charging station up to 130 kilowatt, you'll be able to top up your EV much faster. This battery pack powers a single electric motor that is situated in the front of the car, and this has been done because BMW wants to maximize the amount of space on offer in the long wheelbase, and because this SUV shares its platform with the internal combustion engine X1. That means the most amount of space for a motor is up front without intruding into the cabin space. That's why they decided to do a front wheel drive layout instead of a traditional EV rear wheel drive layout for a single motor car. This electric motor makes 204 horsepower and 250 Newton meters of torque, which being an EV is accessible instantly. And this propels the car from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just over 8 seconds. This is mighty impressive for an SUV that's over 4.6 meters in length and over 1.8 meters in width. It's also worth noting that the iX1 long wheelbase is about 117 millimeters longer than the standard iX1, and it has a 109 mm increased wheelbase, which at 2800 mm is quite long for the segment. So going into this review, there were a few things that I knew that I had to sort of rewire my head with, because the old iX1, there's something that really appealed to a lot of people, even non-EV enthusiasts, was the fact that it had over 300 horsepower all-wheel drive and it had really punchy performance. And when they got the iX1 extended wheelbase out in India, the main issue that happened was that power figures went down. It now only makes 204 horsepower and is front wheel drive, not rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. So, from behind the wheel, what you get is a very linear, very calm and sorted sensation. It's not that it's slow, the 204 horsepower can definitely be felt. Only thing is that it's not punchy the way you expect EVs to be. The flip side to that lack of super aggression and performance is that you get a very nice pull off the line. And it sort of works very well with the character of this car because it wants to be driven a little sedately. That said, if you do want to pick up the pace and drive a little faster, on the weekends your driver is not there, there is ample performance and dynamic capability for you to enjoy out here. So, just for instance, if I floor it right now, it effortlessly gets to the speed limit. And I've tried it out on the open road as well. Out there, it gets to cruising speeds like 120 very easily. It doesn't go beyond that too much. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. It's a nice highway cruiser. It's not really a canyon cover. In terms of driving dynamics, the car feels fairly planted. It's got a little bit of body roll, but not a whole lot. And honestly, for an SUV that weighs this much and is this big, it's pretty good and pretty planted. I like the steering also. It's quite light Very easy to maneuver in and around town. However, it doesn't get the most amount of feedback. I actually know it gives you a decent amount of feedback. It's just a little low compared to other BMWs. They've set the benchmark themselves so high, but it's honestly a very lovely steering unit. And yeah, most people are really going to enjoy this. Also, while we're on the subject, turning circle actually surprisingly quite small. This car is 4.6, 4.7 meters long, and you can do relatively tight city turning such as this without thinking too much about whether the car will make it or not. Visibility out of the cabin's also really good. You've got a big glass house in the front and the sides. The wing mirrors are large. I think all in all, it feels pretty darn good in terms of driving dynamics. In terms of driving, you can also know that it's got a B mode, which you can press by moving the gear lever down to B. uh, Essentially, you just toggle below drive. This B mode actually lets you do one pedal driving, which means all you have to focus on is the accelerator. You don't have to even think about the brake because the regen will kick in and it will bring the car to a halt, which is very cool considering that in city traffic you want to avoid the boredom of being stuck in slow moving traffic. So you can figure out how to judge traffic. Just let off the gas and see how quickly it comes to a halt. And it really does quite effectively start braking. So there's something you have to keep in mind, but it'll definitely help your range. Now, they claim a MIDC range of 531 kilometers per charge. Real world performance is going to be lower, so you should lower your expectations, but expect well over 400 kilometers in the real world on your charge, depending on how aggressively you drive it. If you drive it like how I have been driving it all day, you'll probably get maybe 415, 420. If you drive it with a lighter foot and a little more thought behind your regen, which you can control from the screen, unfortunately, no paddles out here, then you can probably eke maybe 450 kilometers out of this very easily without too much thinking about it. So I think for a real world package for somebody who's going to largely use it in a city, have a home charger to charge it up with, I think this makes a lot of sense. You can go through well over a week's worth of travel and not run out of juice. So that's pretty good. So now I'm in the back seat of the iX1, experiencing what most of the customers are gonna do because they're gonna be here in the back seat. It is a very nice experience. I love how airy this is. I like the amount of space. It really does feel like a proper luxury SUV. And even this panoramic glass roof definitely helps with that airy sensation. Now, from here, the ride quality is pretty nice and soft, and the seat cushioning is also very comfortable. These are both things that are going to be appreciated by a lot of the buyers, and the fact that you can recline it. So you can get into a nice, comfortable area on your way to the meeting or even on the way to your farmhouse. There is a slight underlying firmness to the ride, which is associated with most European cars, and that is still present here because it does help with the driving dynamics of the car. However, it's not so aggressive as it is in some other BMWs, especially the more performance focused cars. So you get a very nice cushioned impact from road imperfections, especially the really large ones. So that's something I think a lot of you will appreciate when you're riding in the back of the car. I really think they've done a very good job with these back seats. And even though there are no real frills back here, like screens or, the retractable blind and stuff, the basics of this rear seat experience have been done so well that I think most people are going to really enjoy it. Now, design is a fairly subjective thing, and I'm going to quickly walk you through all the stuff that has been updated with this long wheelbase iX1. First up, there's the grille. This is a large grille, though it's not actually functional. It's more a aero nose plate. For efficiency, though, it's got this nice triangular pattern to it. If you come around to the side, there are the headlights. They're very well detailed, nicely swept back. I really like how they look. If you look at the bumper down here, It's got a nice wide look to it because of these accentuated pillars on the side, and they are actually air curtains that channel air to the wheel wells. So I like that they're functional. And the air dam down here is actually very well concealed. All in all, the front of the iX1 looks really nice. Coming to the side of the iX1 extended wheelbase, the most notable thing is the increase in length. And this is 116 millimeters longer than the standard iX1, and 108 millimeters of those are between the front and rear wheel in the wheelbase. That means that you get a visually larger door. It's also dimensionally larger, a longer side skirt. Apart from that, pretty much the rest of the design is the same. These are riding on 18-inch wheels, which look quite nice in this diamond cut finish. And another thing I really like on the side are these door handles. They're flush, but they're actually like regular door handles, not the flush pop-out ones. I don't particularly like those, but I like how this one feels and works. Also on the side, you'll be able to notice there is a roof rail. This is a functional roof rail. And back here, you have an integrated spoiler. The rear of the iX1 and the iX1 extended wheelbase are near on identical. And that is evident by these tail lights back here. They're nice, sculpted, though identical in shape and dimension. Even the spoiler integrated, it looks really sporty, really nice. It's the same as the one you got in the iX1. The tailgate is also not particularly flat. It's got nice contours to break up the visual mask. And down here, you get a very nice sporty diffuser, which actually works. Quite good looking in my opinion. Stepping into the front of the BMW iX1 is a very nice experience. The doors have a nice heft to them, and when they close, they have a nice thud. Now, once inside, you'll be greeted by this rather lovely dashboard design. And of course, as you'd expect with a BMW, the finishing is very good. You can see there's soft touch materials here as well as on top of the door cards. And honestly, it's not until you get lower down here in the central tunnel, you can hear there's a little bit of scratchy plastic and down by the door bins. And apart from that, the materials are quite nice. I also really like this silver accent that goes around the dash. Now, the cockpit design, which is this section, is a little asymmetric in the sense that it's sort of angled a little away from you, but also it's curved. This is a 10.8-inch touchscreen. It is quite responsive, as you can see. However, the new BMW OS 9 has a very different layout than the previous iDrive system, which was a benchmark for the segment. Now it's a little bit more cumbersome to use. And also, since BMW has gotten rid of most of the physical switches, you have to deal with things like the climate controls being baked into the screen. So, like if I want to change my temperatures, I'm going to have to use the dials here. And if I click on this, I can change my fan speed. So like I can go to low, very low, auto, all those things. There's also the fact that there's no 360-degree parking camera on a car that costs nearly 50 lakh rupees. This isn't a small car, neither is it cheap, and we need every help we can get to make sure that you can park this without getting any scratches on it. Some of the other things that I really like up front in the iX1 is these seats. They are extremely comfortable and they're quite bolstered. Now, initially, when I saw them, I thought they would be a little too snug for people with larger builds like me. However, it's quite comfortable and I like how much it holds you in. They're also 8-way electronically adjustable, so that's great because you will pretty much find your ideal seating position fairly easily. And you can also see that the steering wheel is adjustable for rake and for reach. So it should be quite easy to find a comfortable seating spot. Two things worth noting. There is no seat ventilation or heating up front, and unlike the previous iX1, which had a massage function in the back, that has also been removed for the locally assembled car. Another thing that's quite nice up here is the center console. It's a floating center console design, and it's quite visually nice to look at because there's a lot of empty space below which can be used for storage. The nice textured mats down here, and you get your basic gear selector out here, start stop button, and there's this lovely media dial, very nicely knolled, so it feels very good when using it. Very premium touch, I like it quite a bit. Now you also get a nice wireless charger up here. And if you see, I've got my phone, you have to place it, and then you've got this little like guardrail that you can secure it with so that while you're driving it doesn't fall out. I think that's a very neat touch, and it's something quirky and unique that you don't get in a lot of other cars. I really like the steering wheel on the iX1. This is a very typical three-spoke BMW steering wheel, though it has this really nice heft to it. It's a thick steering wheel. It's not got a very big diameter, so it feels quite sporty to hold. And I really like the detailing down here for the third spoke. It's got like this hollowed out section which feels very weight saving race car kind of feel. I know it's not for weight savings, it's just a general metal insert, but it does look really cool. And it's got a nice M logo here because this is the M Sport package. Now, the real USP of the BMW iX1 extended wheelbase is the rear seats. And honestly, most customers are going to spend 90-95% of their time back here. Not really in the driver's seat, but here. So, what is the scene back here? Well, the extra 108 of room that the wheelbase has got has pretty much gone into giving you improved rear seat space. I am 6 feet tall. This front seat is set to my driving position, and you can see I have about 6-ish inches of knee room, which is very, very impressive. And if you look, my headroom is also maybe about 3.5 inches. This is something I struggle with cars that have a sunroof. Here, it's not an issue. Very nice, very spacious, and it has a fairly airy vibe. Another thing worth noting is BMW has given you reclining rear seats. So there are these tabs on the side of the seat which you can just pull. They're a little fiddly to use, but as you can see, this is the most upright position, and you can get up to 28.5 degrees of recline. So that means you can go really far back and get quite comfortably. Now, two little niggles that you get back here. One is there's no sunblind out here. BMW skipped on this because primarily this is a European design car, and out there they can have privacy glass on the back. We can't in India. So the lack of a sunblind does sort of become a little bit of an issue at this price range. It's not too bad. And the second thing is that because the batteries are just under the floor, you do end up sitting a little knees up. Now, this would be an issue if the car was, a little smaller than it is like in the regular iX1. But an easy fix in the extended wheelbase, because you have so much space back here, just stretch your feet out and tuck them under the front seats. And the slightly lacking under thigh support gets solved immediately. And honestly, I feel this is how most people are going to sit in long drives. So it's a very comfortable place to be. Another thing I want to point out is that BMW has given you a nice foldable armrest with two cup holders. This falls very ergonomically for you when you're sitting back here. So that's a big plus. And I really appreciate the fact that the materials have not declined in quality from the front to rear. Some cars do this, that they give you nice materials up front but no soft touch at the back. That's not the case here. So this really makes the cabin feel a little elevated and more premium than, say, a Skoda or a Volkswagen would. The boot of the iX1 extended wheelbase isn't the biggest thing out there, but it's not very small either. You can see that is 490 liters of boot space. That's actually pretty good. You can get a couple of large suitcases, maybe three, or some of the smaller duffel bags in here. And if you just come in, I'll show you under the floor, you get additional storage, which can be quite handy. However, there's no spare wheel. You can actually option one from BMW and they'll put it here on top. So that's going to eat into your boot space. That's something worth keeping in mind. Alternatively, you can just keep a tire repair kit in here as well. Now, because this is a luxury SUV, it also has electric tailgate. As I do in all my EV reviews, I have to reiterate the fact that electric cars are not made for every kind of buyer, especially in India. You have to be very aware of the fact that the charging infrastructure is just not there, even in major cities, but especially as you go out towards tier 2 and tier 3 places, it's something you really have to keep in mind. And there's the fact that if you're planning on doing any major long distance driving, you're really gonna have to plan out your route well in advance to reach a stop where you can get an EV charger and have a backup handy. So that is something you definitely need to keep in mind if you're thinking of getting into a car like this. All in all, the BMW iX1 long wheelbase is a very, very enticing package. Nothing can disregard the pricing of this. At 49 lakhs, it is so compelling. This makes it cheaper than something like the newly launched Tesla Model Y, as well as the Mercedes EQA, and even something like the Kia EV6 GT. The fact that you can get into a luxury German car brand, and that to an SUV that is very, very usable in and around the city. And even for those of you who want to take it a little bit out, maybe a couple of hours drive from your city to your farmhouse, maybe, those are drives you can consider doing with this car. But you have to remember, this is not a driver's car like typical BMWs are. So when you go into the showroom, when you go take your test drive, keep that in mind, because this is designed to be more linear with its power delivery. It's supposed to be a little more soft in the driving dynamics, lighter steering. But all this means that it's easier to drive around, and gosh, those back seats are so spacious and so comfortable. They really give you the feel of being in a luxury SUV, which something like the iX1 or even the entry-level X1 do not give you, because the rear seats are a little cramped. So all in all, it is a lovely package, and definitely something you should shortlist. In case you want some other EV alternatives, check the comment down below and let me know, would you consider buying this at 49 lakhs? Until next time, cheers.